Welcome back to another MD Plays video, and today we are going to be looking at what Arsenal could look like in the next FIFA. I've just made my predictions on who went up and who went down, and if you guys could just go in the comments and let me know if you agree or disagree, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have some discussions with you guys, and yeah, without further ado, let's get to the predictions. Okay, let's go right to Aubameyang. So I gave him an 84 rating, which is 3 down from his 87 last year. Definitely had an underwhelming season, to say the least. Just wasn't the same player he was a couple seasons ago. So I think an 84 is fair, although I'm not sure how harsh EA will be. They could go down to an 83. They might only give him an 85, So I just thought I'd go right in the middle, give him an 84. And I gave him stat decreases all across the board. 88 pace, 84 shooting, 72 passing, 78 dribbling, and 68 physical. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair. So yeah, next we'll go on to Saka. Definitely one of the few bright spots in Arsenal's team. I love this kid. He's amazing. He's one of the best players on this team. And although I do think he probably should deserve an 81 or an 82, I think EA, since he is so young, they'll probably give him a 79, maybe an 80, although I think a 79 is more realistic. I gave him an upgrade to pace, a big upgrade to shooting, even though, Saka is not a finisher, let's be real here, but I think 70 shooting is fair for him. And then I gave him an upgrade to passing, 77, 81 dribbling, and then 64 physical. I think all around, that's pretty fair for Saka. He's one of the bright young talents in the world, and I think one more season, and you might even see him go up to an 83. I could definitely see it if he has a breakout year again. But yeah. Next, we'll go on to Smith Rowe. I gave him a 78, so that's one below Saka. And I think, honestly, Smith Rowe has been probably just as equal to Saka, but hasn't been receiving that same hype, which is a little annoying because I think both of them are just truly just great talents. But yeah, I gave Smith Rowe a 78, right below Saka. And gave him an upgrade to pace. Well, pretty much everything is an upgrade. He was a 69 rated silver, so now he is a 78 rated gold, which I think is fair. 83 pace, 73 shooting, 76 passing, 80 dribbling, and 60 physical. I think those are all great stats for him. Definitely room to improve, but I think if he has another good season, you could see him go up to an 80 or an 81 next year easily. Okay, let's go on to a new signing here. So Albert Sambi-Lokonga. Oh my gosh, I really like this kid. I think he's going to be great for us this season. If, Arteta will play him above Xhaka, I think that will be maybe the best scenario. So he had a 72 rated silver in FIFA 21. Now, after an impressive season in Belgium, I'm not sure if EA will give him a gold. They might just say, oh, well, it was Belgium, so we'll get a silver again, maybe a 74. But after seeing his performances, I think a 75 is well-deserved. And it's not like that's the craziest rating ever. I think he definitely deserves that, and there's definitely room to improve over the year. So, I'm really excited by this signing. I think it's one of the signings of the summer for Arsenal. He's the future of the midfield, and him along with Partey, I think, will be great this year. Just kind of got to get in the groove of the season, and I think they'll both connect very well. And speaking of Partey, we'll go to him right now. So I give Partey a downgrade. Now, I know some Arsenal fans might be like, well, he didn't disappoint, so he doesn't deserve a downgrade. But at the same time, I have to say, was he really that impressive? Now, I know Partey is one of the best parts of our midfield. There's no denying that. He is one of the crucial parts of our midfield. But I think, realistically, his performances have not been on par with his that he was having at Atletico Madrid. I think a 1 downgrade is fair. I think Party, if he has a solid season, he could definitely get up there. Again, I love this player. I think he's great, but I think realistically, just one downgrade, I think is fair for him. And now we'll go on to Odegaard. Also, another signing that we brought back. Very happy we got him back in the club. I thought he was a great talent, and considering they only paid I think £30 million for him, is great, because I think he's one for the future, and I could definitely see him becoming a superstar at Arsenal. I don't know how Real Madrid let him go for 30 million, because this guy is truly a gem. But yeah, so we'll just go through 78 pace, 74 shooting, 85 passing, 84 dribbling, and 63 physical. I took one off the shot because I think Odegaard, and I think he knows this too, he was not performing up to, the finishing goals. I don't see him as a finisher anyway, so I think 74 is fair. And I gave him +1 to his passing because I think he was brilliant this past year. His progressive passing and everything, I think he was great. So yeah, I think that's fair. I didn't give him an upgrade per se, like he's not an 84, because he didn't really have the great, start that we all expected. But, I think there's definitely potential here, and I'm very excited that we got him. And yeah, so we'll go on to Tierney next. So he was a 78 last year. I gave him a +3 upgrade to 81, and I think that's great. I think if he gets an 81 next FIFA, I would definitely be happy with that. I gave him 86 pace, which he did have last year, 77 dribbling, 75 defense, 81 physical, and 74 passing. The passing may even go up too, because I know he's a brilliant crosser. Half of our attacks go through his crosses anyway. So he has to be good, right? But yeah, I think that's a fair rating. Definitely probably the best Arsenal defender. Maybe Gabriel, though. I just can't see EA giving Gabriel an 80. But we'll get to that. But yeah, we'll go to White next. Ben White, the 50 million signing. Sorry about that. It's hard to believe that we paid that much. But I think Ben White is a great center back. He's good. I think people are getting a little too harsh about his one performance against Brentford. You can't read too much into that. Everyone's saying he's a flop, he's not worth it. It's one game. It was the first game of the season. Give him time to assimilate with the squad and just, develop. I think he's going to be great. I think you could definitely see him having a solid year at Arsenal and maybe going up to an 80 next year, or at least a 79. I think he has a lot of potential, and eventually I think he might be first choice center back in the England squad, because honestly, after this generation goes out, Stones is a little bit older, Maguire isn't the youngest. I think White might fill that path, and I think that would be great for his career and him. But yeah, we'll go to Gabriel next, who I was just talking about. So I think Gabriel is very underrated, but I had to be realistic with this rating. If it was me deciding this, just out of what I think of him, I would probably give him an 81. I think that's fair. I think he's definitely on par with the Lindelofs and all of those types. I think he's definitely at least an 81 rated. But you got to be honest. It's FIFA, and they're talking about Arsenal. Arsenal had a very disappointing season, and I think they'll just probably not be too generous with the upgrades. I think he'll get a +1, but I think, in my opinion, he deserves a +3 to an 81. But anyway, he has 58 pace, 56 dribbling, 80 defense, and 79 physical. I think, Gabriel, great player. I think he deserves a little higher. But I'm being realistic here, guys. And now we'll go to the newest signing, which just came in on deadline day. Takahiro Tomiyasu, I think is his name. That might not be it, but I'm just gonna go for it. Tomiyasu, the Japanese international. So he just came in from Bologna, from Italy, Serie A, and I'm actually very excited by this. I know that our right back position is definitely one of our weakest areas. We just, you can see in the past couple games, Chambers has just been torn apart, Cedric as well. So we needed the signing, and I think Tomiyasu might be the one to just, not many people are expecting him to be crazy good, but I think he might be that underdog. He comes in and then puts in a couple good performances, and then the whole world knows that he is a good player. But yeah, I'm really excited by the signing, and I gave him a 77 rated, which is actually a +5 from his FIFA 21 card. But again, he did have an impressive season in Serie A. I gave him 75 pace, 73 dribbling, 76 defending, 75 physical, and 70 passing. And after watching some highlights of him, I have to say his passing is very good. He loves to do long balls, loves to switch the play of field, He loves to just play it across to the left back or the left mid. He's great with that, and also is two-footed. He can play with both feet, which is great. A great crosser. So yeah, I'm really excited. You can even see that passing stat go up. But yeah, I think he'd be great for Arsenal, and I'm excited to see him play because I think he might be a great underrated signing that not many people think will be good, but just takes the league by storm. So yeah, we'll go on to Leno next. I gave him a 2 rating decrease to an 83. So I mean, Leno did not have the best season last year. Let's be honest. Although he has impressed this, the starting. Well, I say that the first game against Brentford was terrible. Chelsea, not much you can do. You're playing against Lukaku. And City, he did have a great game. There's no denying that. Definitely the man of the match for Arsenal. Basically saved it from being like 8-0. So, yeah. I think a 2 rating decrease is fair. I was going to give him an 84, but after realizing how he was playing last season, I think an 83 is a little better. Definitely not as good as he was a couple seasons ago. So, I mean, you might see him go down to an 82. I don't know if EA will be that harsh. I think an 83 is good enough. Okay, and now we'll go on to the bench. So, Pepe. Now, I saw a lot of people who wanted to downgrade Pepe, which I was very confused about because this guy tore it apart in the second half of the season. Now, I know you can say, oh, well, the first half he wasn't good. But if we're playing by that, if he had a mediocre first half and then an amazing second half, I think there's no reason for a downgrade at all. I don't think because I saw some people putting him as an 80. And I was like, are you kidding me? 2 ratings down. You think he was that bad? He deserves a 2 rating decrease. He was the second top goal scorer for Arsenal, netting 16 goals. I think in this squad, without Pepe, I think we're probably done because we don't have any other goal scorers. I think he was crucial to the team, and I think it's just not right to downgrade him. I would upgrade him maybe 1, but I think it's EA, so they'll probably keep him just level. And to be honest, I think an 82 is fair. So I gave him, I think, a minor decrease to pace, kept dribbling the same, shooting went up, and I put a little down on passing because let's be honest, Pepe is not a playmaker. He never has been. He's a goal scorer and a dribbler. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Some people might disagree. You can let me know in the comments, but I think there's no reason for a downgrade. I think he's a great player. It's just the price tag, from a couple years ago, 70 million. Everybody just is like, he's not worth 70 million. Well, you don't have to be worth 70 million to be a good player. That's the truth. So, yeah, I stand by my decision. 82 rated for Pepe. Now we'll go on to another new signing, Nuno Tavares. Very impressed by his displays in preseason, and we haven't seen much of him this Premier League season so far, but I think he will come in maybe if Tierney gets injured or just needs a little switch for fitness and recovery. I think Nuno Tavares is a great backup. I gave him 87 pace, 75 dribbling because he's a great dribbler. You should see the runs he makes, very good. 67 defending, 72 physical, and 66 passing. Yeah, I think he's one for the future. If he puts in some good displays, I could definitely see him making a name for himself. Now, I'm not sure he would overthrow Kieran Tierney, but you never know. Maybe they move him to right back for some games, and I could definitely see him being a squad player that could really make an impact. Okay, so now we're going on to Chaka. I give Chaka a 79 rated, which is one down from this last FIFA. I think he wasn't terrible, but he also wasn't great. I mean, I think the Euros saved his stock a little bit from him going down to maybe like a 78. So I think 79 is fair. Gave him 52 pace, 63 shooting, 79 passing, 68 dribbling, 72 defending, and 79 physical. A little upgrade to defending, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Don't have much to say about him. I mean, I really wish he left over the summer because I think Sambi Lokanga could have gotten maybe more game time. But it is what it is, and yeah. So next we'll go on to El Neni. To be honest, I didn't change anything with this card because I think he had a very mediocre season. So I just left it the same. I don't think there's much you can really say to where he really declined or where he improved. So yeah, just left it the same for him. Now Lacazette. So this was an interesting one. Obviously, he was Arsenal's top goal scorer this past year. But I don't know if he deserves an upgrade. I'm going to be honest. I think an 83 for Lacazette is good. I gave him small upgrades, so I didn't just leave it the same. I gave him an upgrade to his pace and obviously an upgrade to his shooting. I think his dribbling is already at a good place, and his passing is good as well. I think they all pretty much match his quality. He just hasn't been. He's been what I've been seeing for the past 2 seasons. So I really don't think he deserves an upgrade or a downgrade. But yeah. So now we'll go on to a new signing, which is Ramsdale. So Ramsdale's a very interesting one. A lot of Arsenal fans did not want him to move to Arsenal, but I personally thought it was a decent move. Besides the money paid, I mean, Arsenal overspent a lot this summer, but I think Ramsdale is definitely a great backup, and he might even take it over from Leno, because I think a lot of people underrate his ability. Everybody keeps bringing up how he was relegated twice and that somehow that means he's not a good goalie. I think people have to remember that this guy was literally making the most saves of any keeper, I believe, in his last season or the last 2 seasons. He was really battling it out. I mean, this guy had to face an unreal number of shots. I don't know how people expect him to somehow single-handedly save a team from relegation. I think that argument is very flawed and not realistic. I think he's actually very underrated. I think he could have saved his teams from being complete embarrassments. So yeah, I think Ramsdale definitely deserves an upgrade. I gave him a +2, 77 diving, 74 handling, 72 kicking, 77 reflexes, and 74 positioning. Again, I think realistically, if he was having those performances on even a mid-table team, everybody would be saying Ramsdale's a great signing and he's perfect. But, it's the relegation narrative that somehow that makes him a bad player. But yeah, I think those are all fair ratings for him. Now Chambers. So Chambers, to say the least, has not been good the start of the season. Not good at all. I've taken down his defense 1 and his physical by 1. I doubt you guys really care what his rating is anyway, if I'm being honest. I mean, Callum Chambers, he's not for Arsenal. He doesn't fit here. If it was up to me, he'd be gone this summer, but he's here, so yeah. Okay, let's go on to a more interesting one, which is Gabriel Martinelli. So last year we did not see a lot of him. He was out for injury for most of the season. I believe he only made 14 appearances, and not even half of them were him starting. So he didn't really have the opportunity to make that big impact last season. But do I think he's still a silver? No, I really don't. I don't know why he was a silver last year. I think a 75 is definitely fair for him. I think once he does come on, he makes an impact. And I think everybody underrates him. Just a couple seasons ago, he was one of the best youngsters in the world, and now I feel like nobody talks about him. So yeah, I mean, I just thought I'd give him a 75, one upgrade. I think that's fair. 86 pace, 71 shooting, 65 passing, and 77 dribbling. Yeah, I mean, you might even get his shooting up a little more. They only gave him a 68 for shooting last year, which I think is a little harsh. He like that's his game. His game is goal scoring. He's a goal scorer. That's what he is. So I mean, I think he probably deserves a 73 at least, but I don't think EA will give him that. I don't even know if EA will give him an upgrade, but I really hope he does get one because I think he deserves it, and I think they were a little harsh on him last year. Yeah, so now we're on to Holding. Yeah, so he hasn't been good as well. Him and Chambers have been the dynamic duo of failure. Yeah, they're just not good. I took his defense down a little bit, took his dribbling down a little bit, just minor decreases. Again, I doubt you guys really care about this guy's rating. I mean, if it was up to me, he'd be a silver, but I don't think EA will do that. And if it was up to me, I think Chambers would also be a silver. But again, I don't think EA will do that. Okay, Maitland-Niles. So this was a very interesting one because just the other day, Maitland-Niles was being a little baby, and he put it on social media that he wanted to leave Arsenal and play it somewhere where he was wanted. Well, yeah, well that backfired because looks like it was all just a stunt for him to get to have some playing time at Arsenal because then he got his talk with Arteta and now he's playing. Maitland-Niles, I don't know how he's going to fit into this team, especially since we just got Tomiyasu, who I think is better than Maitland-Niles. I don't think Maitland-Niles really has a position where he excels. He's just kind of the all-around guy, and I don't think that's good enough for the Premier League. Maybe in the Championship, but not in the Prem. So I think... I don't know. I think he'll get a 76. I don't think he'll go down. I don't think he'll go up. He didn't have a great season last year. So yeah, I took his pace down a little bit, up the defending. I think it's a fair rating. Okay, now on to Balogun. So Balogun, I believe, had a 60 rated bronze last year. So I bumped it up to a 65 silver, which I think is deserved. I think he's definitely one of the hot prospects in England still, even though many people are disappointed by how he played against Brentford. But again, that was like one of his first senior matches. I mean, you can't really judge it. His first Prem match. So I think it's a little harsh. He's still a youngster. Gave him 74 pace, 64 shooting, 50 passing, 63 dribbling, and 62 physical. Again, a lot of room to improve. And you never know, maybe he comes on off the bench a couple games and then proves his worth and he goes up to, I don't know, somewhere in the 70s next year. I think it's definitely possible. And yeah. So now on to the final player, which is Cedric. And you may have noticed that I did not include Pablo Mari. I honestly just couldn't fit him on the team sheet, so I was using Footbin and I couldn't fit him on. Just to give you a little glimpse as to what I'd rate him, I'd give him probably a 75. Yeah, so he'll probably keep the same rating as he was last year, even though he has disappointed so far this season. But yeah, we'll go on to Cedric. So I gave Cedric a 1 downgrade because honestly, I don't think he was that good this past season. I don't think he was that good. I think many people wanted to believe he was. But in my opinion, he was average at best, and I think he's a mid-table right back, and he's not going to get us anywhere further than we are right now. So I think he deserves a 1 downgrade. I think 75 is fair for him. He's just not really great at anything. So yeah, 75 pace, 75 dribbling, 72 defense, 67 physical. Yeah, pretty standard. I think I didn't really change much from last year. Maybe knock down his dribbling a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be it. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I had a great time going over this roster. Had a lot of fun. And yeah, discuss in the comments and let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.